Okay, grade 11s, we've got exercise 6.7, what are we? 6.7, yeah. And there are a few questions here, and I expect you to maybe do one or two every day and really stick to it. It's going to take a little bit of time. Have the video here for ready and have it ready to watch, and just work through it slowly. So if you're cruising by, then cruise by, and then just watch the beginning of each of these videos if you want to get into the questions, and then jump ahead to the bit. So maybe you're just struggling with coordinates of G, then sure, jump ahead to that, but it might rely on some of the things we've done to that point. So I think the first thing that's worthwhile to do is just let's see what we're given and see how that matches with the diagram. I'm going to start just by zooming us in a tad so we can see things a bit clearer to start with. Okay, so we're given two functions. We're given f of x, which equals 2x squared plus 8x plus 3. Okay, that's clearly the parabola. Sometimes what's useful is just get out, if you've got this drawn out, then you very neatly draw over it with a highlighter so we know that's the pink one, and the green graph is going to be this guy, which is clearly our straight line. Let's just quickly try and reinforce some ideas. So I'm recording this on Wednesday evening, and during our Google Meet, it's interesting, this idea of not quite feeling fully comfortable with this, not feeling like, yeah, that's definitely what the parabola should look like. So let's see if we can try and reinforce some of these ideas. Start with a straight line. Minus 2x minus 5. What do we know about this straight line? We know gradient and y-intercept. Gradient, negative 2, means that it's definitely going down. And we know that the y-intercept is given as minus 5. Oh, here we go. This point D is the y-intercept. So I'm just going to fill it in straight away. We may or may not need it, but it's so easy. We've already found that, so let's just use it. Okay, and the gradient, we know is negative 2, maybe it won't come up. Okay, for our parabola, let's go through. We've got ax squared plus bx plus c. It's in that form at the moment. So not turning point form, so we don't know what this point is here. G is going to be something, but we don't know what it's going to be. It's not obvious from the equation. Okay, what else do we know? Well, there's a point up here, point A, and let's do it over there. A, we don't know what it is, except that A is where the two graphs are equal to each other. Oh, is there somewhere else while we're on that idea? Yeah, B is also where the two graphs are equal to each other. So let's put B in. That's going to be a bit of work to find. Okay, what else we got? C, oh, we've got a y-intercept. Well, the y-intercept, we know that the x value is 0. Can we easily find that? I know we're still getting into our parabolas now. Can we easily find that? Well, if we substituted x equals 0 into this equation, well, this would be 0. This would be 0. So this last bit is just like our y-intercept. So in this form, y-intercept's really easy to find out. So we know that this is 3. Easy enough to find. Let's fill it in. Okay, and then we've also got some x-intercepts. So here's an x-intercept that clearly isn't going to matter, but we know that its y value is 0. Here's an x-intercept. This is E. We know that the y value is 0, and this straight line presumably has an x-intercept here. F, we don't know what it is, but it's 0. It's not going to be too hard to find when we need that. Okay, and then there's something happening with PRQ, but from the diagram, we don't know anything about PR or Q, except that P is on straight line, Q is on the parabola. Okay, so we've familiarized ourselves with our diagram. Now we can jump out and see what are we actually getting asked. Determine the coordinates of A and B, the points where the two graphs intersect. Okay, this is probably going to need a little bit of work. So where the two graphs intersect, so in other words, you're asking ourselves, where are these two graphs equal to each other? So where is the parabola, which is f of x, where is that equal to the straight line? Okay, well, we've got the formula for the parabola. We know that it's just 2x squared plus 8x plus 3 that was given to us in the question, and we know that the straight line is just minus 2x minus 5. Okay, and we're asking ourselves, when are these two equal? Because these equations were just given to us. Okay, well, let's solve. 2x squared plus 8x plus, sorry, that should have been it next, plus 8x plus 2x gives us plus 10x. 3 plus 5 plus 8, when is that equal to 0? It's a quadratic, so it makes sense to put everything, rearrange so it's all on one side, divide everything by 2, or you could just put in the quadratic equation, but you'll see that this is a nice easy one to factorize, so we may as well just test our factorization skills quickly and go, well, plus 4 plus 1, so if we keep going on this tack, x equals minus 4 or x equals negative 1. Well, if x equals minus 4, how are we going to find out the y value? Well, it's on the parabola and it's on the straight line. I think it's easier to substitute into the straight line, but of course you could substitute into either. So we know that the y value, we can just look at g of minus 4, which is minus 2 minus 4 minus 5. That gives us equals 8 minus 5, 3. So what have we really found out there? And I keep reinforcing this, and I think it's worthwhile. X minus 4, y 3, when the two are equal to each other, minus 4, 3 must correspond to A. So let's write that in here. A are has the coordinates minus 4, 3. Minus 4, 3, I'm going to put it straight in the diagram because we might need it useful. Let's just keep putting stuff in. Okay, what else do we need? Or x equals minus 1. So to find out what the y value is, g of minus 1 minus 2 times minus 1 minus 5 equals, that's 2 minus 5 minus 3. So when x is minus 1, y is minus 3. And what exactly did we work out there? Well, the other place where they're equal to each other. So this must have been b. So minus 1 minus 3, that was b. And the idea here is that if we need to come back and use a and b at another stage, well, it's easy. It's written down here, oh, there's point A, there's point B, oh, and it's in the diagram as well. Okay, so we found A. Let's keep going down. The length of CD, where C and D are the points where the graphs cut the y-axis, respectively. Well, that's easy. We've kind of done that one already. So not too much to do here at all. Let's just scribble down here to give ourselves space and go, well, that we can pretty much just read off. We can just go 3, the bigger value, more positive value, minus the other value. 3 minus minus 5, that's 8. But what we're working on, CD. So let's just say CD equals 8. And we've written in the diagram, so that's enough working to show that we got those points. Okay, that was B. Onwards, upwards. Let's move on to C. The length of EF, where E and F are points where the graphs cut the x-axis. Okay, well, we know how to find x-intercepts. We've already familiarized ourselves to see what E and F were. So let's start with a straight line. Probably going to be easier. So for F, and let's just write F, that's what we're trying to work out. Y equals minus 2x minus 5. Just substituting y equals 0 into our equation. Cool, 2x equals minus 5, x equals minus 2 over 5. Okay, minus 2 over 5. That doesn't feel right. Surely it's minus 5 over 2. Cool. Catch these slips early. Minus 5 over 2. Minus, oh, that's no good. I'm just going to have to scribble it on top. 5 over 2. Okay, and then the other one we need to work out is E. This is going to require a bit more work. So 0 equals 2x squared plus 8x plus 3. Make the y value 0, determine the x value. This does not look like it's going to factorize pretty. So quadratic formula. X equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, everything over 2a. Don't have to write out the formula as it is, but do show your substitution. This is given to you on the front page. So minus 8 plus or minus the square root of b squared, b is 8, minus 4ac, everything over 2a. So x equals one thing, or x is going to equal something else. So trusty calculator to the rescue, or the emulator, or one of those bamboozling ones on the website. And we've got minus 8 plus or minus the square root of 8 squared minus 4ac, everything over 2a. And I get something that's got square roots and stuff in it. So I'm going to press S to D and just turn it into a decimal straight away. Minus 0,42. Or I'm going to change that plus to a minus. And I'm going to S to D it, so to decimal, and get minus 3,58. Okay, so which one am I dealing with? Well, we're trying to find E, not this unnamed point here, so it must be the smaller negative one, or the less large negative. So it must be this one here. So therefore EF, going to use the same strategy, but it looks like which one we're subtracting from what? Here we went the bigger one minus the smaller one. Going to do the same one here. The bigger one, E minus F. So E was minus 5 over 2, and we're going to subtract F, 0,42, and let's see what we get. Minus 5 over 2 minus 0,42 minus 2,08. Well, minus, I guess it's the length, so we're looking for 2,08. So EF is, the negative of all of that. It doesn't really matter. The point is it's that distance. Okay, cool. So we got that distance there. Now we can move on. Let's move to question D. Find the length of PQ if PRQ is a straight line perpendicular to the x-axis and R is the point minus 3, 0. Now when it says perpendicular, what they're really trying to tell us is that these x values are all the same. So all these x values are minus 3. Really a long way around of just saying those two are minus 3. If we know the input's minus 3, how are we going to work out the output? If we know the input's minus 3, how are we going to work out the output? And then subtract. We seem to be doing that quite a bit. Okay, well, let's see. We can probably squeeze this button over here. So we're on question D. So let's start with the straight line. Feels easier. G of minus 3 equals minus 2, minus 3, minus 5. 6 minus 5 is 1. Okay, so in other words, P is minus 3, 1. Minus 3, 1. And for Q, we're going to go F of minus 3, which is 2 minus 3 squared plus 8 minus 3 plus 3. And yes, please just show this step so we can see what you're trying to work out. 9, 18, minus 24, minus 6, minus 3. Let's just check that. 2 minus 3 squared plus 8 minus 3 plus 3 minus 3. Cool. So in other words, we've worked out that point Q is minus 3 minus 3. Therefore, PQ is 1 minus minus 3 equals 4. Cool. So we got 4 units for that one. last question that we want to do. Coordinates of G, the turning point of the parabola. Okay, so this here is G. This is just what we've been doing in the last exercise. How do we turn this into turning point form? That's all we need to do for this one. Well, let's take it up here to this next page. There, we can just get it in. We've got f of x equals 2x squared plus 8x plus 3. To find out the x value of our turning point, p is just minus b over 2a. Okay? Minus 8 over 2a is not minus 4. Minus 8 over 4 minus 2. And to find q, all we need to do is substitute that value into our original equation. So we've got 2 times minus 2 squared plus 8 minus 2 plus 3, okay, equals 4, 8 minus 16 minus 8 plus 3 minus 5. So therefore we've got our turning point. P is minus 2. P is just the turning point. It's x value. Q is that. And if we wanted to, and for some reason we needed to put this into turning point form, we would say it's A is the same A, 2x minus 2 squared plus q. If we needed it in turning point form, which we don't, just asked us what is the turning point. And there it is, minus 2, minus 5, and that's it. Okay, so you see, if we can just run through kind of cool, calm, collected through it. Looks really busy, there's lots going on, but each question we're just looking at just some key points. We know how to find x-intercepts, we know how to find y-intercepts, we know how to find out when graphs are equal to each other. If we're given a point, if we're given the input, how do we find out the output? And there we go, going to answer this.